Hi everyone, I'm Keith Mathis with the Mathis Group. We are a premier ATP, and this video series is 7 minutes to PMP mastery. Today, our video is going to include explicit versus tacit knowledge. Explicit versus tacit knowledge. Project managers are expected to not only manage documents and artifacts, but also to preserve experience, judgment, and team know-how. So one of the things you'll see in this video as we separate explicit to tacit is that they are distinct differences between the two. Explicit knowledge is knowledge that is documented, codified, easy to store or share. Examples of this are going to be the project charter, the risk register, the requirements documents, the schedule, lessons learned register, standard operating procedure. Notice that all the things that are under the umbrella of explicit knowledge are going to be things that are actually have some type of document. And so it's going to be something that people are going to be able to touch, feel, read, those type of things. That's explicit. So if you came to a training session and we give you a notebook for that training, that's going to be explicit knowledge. Explicit knowledge is formal, systematic, codified, such as manuals, procedures, documented artifacts. So anything that's going to be some type of book, some type of checklist, some type of thing is going to be explicit knowledge. Tacit knowledge is knowledge that is personal, experience-based knowledge that is harder to document fully. Example of this would be a senior PM's judgment, a team member's troubleshooting instinct, stakeholder relationship insight, knowledge how to calm conflict before it escalates, understanding unwritten team norms. Notice all of this is very personal and more internal. And so tacit knowledge is going to be that knowledge that we're able to anticipate because of our experience and our background and emotional intelligence that we're using on that project. And so it's going to be very important there. Tacit knowledge also, if it lives mostly in the people's heads and comes from experience, it is usually considered tacit knowledge. If it's gained through observation and direct experience and difficult to articulate or transfer completely through documents alone, it's going to be tacit knowledge. So in the test questions, and we're going to show you a sample of one a little bit later here, but in the test questions, they want to test between explicit knowledge, stuff that we all should know because we've been trained in it, we can read it, we can see it, compared to tacit knowledge, which is coming out of our head. So core differences between the two of these. Explicit knowledge is going to be written, structured, easy to store, easy to retrieve, easier to transfer or scale. That's going to be explicit knowledge. Tacit knowledge, because it's coming from the inside of us in our head, it's personal, experiential, it's hard to formalize, it's harder to transfer, and it's shared through mentoring, observation, or collaboration. And so that's the reason why when we are talking about, for an example, this type of video series here, we're giving you explicit knowledge, some of the things that you already see and hear and touch and can read, and then I'm giving you tacit knowledge based on our personal experience from what we've sent tons and tons of people through the PMP bootcamp, and it allows you an opportunity to kind of hear behind the scenes of how PMI typically positions a particular test question. Comparisons. Explicit tells us what is known. Tacit tells you how to apply it well. It's considered to be more difficult to communicate and transfer across projects. Tacit is going to be more difficult consistently. Why this matters in project management? Well, the reason is because projects fail when knowledge walks out the door. When you lose someone to another company or you lose someone to another project, that's knowledge going over someplace else. So why do both the explicit and tacit knowledge matter? Explicit knowledge supports consistency, governance, traceability. Tacit knowledge supports judgment, adaptation, and real-world execution. Strong project managers convert important tacit knowledge into reusable explicit knowledge whenever possible. And the reason that a project manager is able to do that is because of the experience they bring to the table. So how PMP positions this topic. On the PMP exam, explicit and tacit knowledge are usually tested individually through project artifacts, knowledge learned in retrospectives, team collaboration and mentoring, lessons learned in retrospectives, phase closure and transitions, choosing the best way to preserve knowledge before the team turns over, or there's a handoff. And so what happens is that you're going to see explicit and tacit knowledge typically in these type of scenario type of questions is what you're looking at. So how it shows up on the exam question. So PMP style mindset. So when a key team member is leaving, the best answer is usually not just save the document, but it's more likely to capture the lessons learned from the person leaving, conducting a handoff session, pairing the replacement with an expert, updating the artifacts, ensuring continuity, not just saying goodbye and we have a party or anything like that, okay? So when somebody's leaving your team and they've got this explicit, and especially the tacit knowledge, you're wanting that transferred over. And this is going to be a bigger deal on all the PMP tests. PMI has really started emphasizing it in 2022. They're really emphasizing it now. So PMP exam style question. So a senior project engineer is leaving in 2 weeks. She has updated the design repository, uploaded final calculations, and stored approved technical documents in the shared system. The project manager is still concerned about losing critical knowledge. What should the project manager do next? And sometimes they'll say, what would you do next? They're not asking you what you would do. They're asking you, what does the process show? So A, confirm all project documents are version controlled and close the risk. B, schedule structured knowledge transfer sessions with the replacement and key team members. C, archive the engineer's emails and meeting notes in the project repository. Or D, ask the engineer to write a final summary memo of important lessons learned. So take a look at those answers and see what you think. What would be the best answer? Remember, you're not choosing right compared to wrong. What is the best answer? Okay, so you have it. So your best answer is actually B. It's the strongest response because the documented materials already preserve much of the explicit knowledge, but the concern is likely about tacit knowledge. You're trying to pass on those things that are part of that project manager's head. So judgment, context, nuances, decision logic that does not transfer fully through documents alone. It's structured handoff sessions, shadowing, discussions, and best address that gap. That's what you're looking for. So that's why B is technically better than the other answers. Now, let's talk about the others. So we know B is correct. So why are the other answers wrong? Well, A is incomplete. Version control protects document integrity, but it does not transfer experience-based insight. You're missing the tacit side. C looks reasonable, but its archived emails are usually unstructured, inefficient as a primary transfer mechanism. They store information, but they do not effectively surface embedded know-how that the project manager might have. D is going to be useful as well, but still weaker than live transfer. A memo may capture some tacit knowledge, but it rarely exposes the reasoning depth and also informal stakeholder insights or situational judgment that conversations can reveal. So all of these are not necessarily wrong in every situation, but B is more right, and that's how you have to position it for the PMP test. Now, thank you so much for watching this video on explicit and tacit knowledge. I hope it's been beneficial for you. If I can help you in any way, please contact me. I'd love to be able to work with you and your people. And so we do PMP exam prep boot camps. I teach them every other month, and we do it virtually, so you can attend this from all over the world. We'd love to have you in here. Our first-time passing rate is a 97% first-time passing rate. We would love to have you come and be part of our boot camp. So you have a wonderful day, okay? Bye now.